that happens more often than possessions. And jinn can also, they can give you evil eyes, bad luck. Like, for example, you buy a nice new sports car, someone says, wow, that's a really nice sports car. 10 minutes later, it's got a massive scratch on it. Yeah. And that happens. That's what we call the evil eye, because, something's taken a disliking to what you've said, and they've messed it up for you.
And as you know, we are guided by principles of legal issues and ethical aspects. So one thing I do is check out my own scope of practice. Am I really able to help this client? And chances are, if I am not able to help this client, I make sure that I become the middleman between myself and the psychiatrist, where that person needs to be evaluated and that person needs medication. I keep our relationship, but definitely and ultimately, the aim is what helps the client best. And at that point, I make sure that I am resourceful enough for me to give out the referrals.
Today's conference is about Islam and mental health. And we've brought an array of international speakers here to Wandsworth to explore the issues with the Trust.
The Trust has been very involved with faith communities, and this is the latest in a series of events where we're really seeking to build on the understandings that we've developed over time and turn them into actions so that we develop services that truly reflect both the needs and the aspirations of local communities.
It's essentially to bring anybody, be it a professional or person walking on the street, because it is about children, young people and families, and really the communities out there grappling what issues are they dealing with. That's of course relevant to their faith, to their belief, to spirituality as we know it, and the issues that actually may be interfering with their health.
Well, we wanted to prove or actually discuss the fact that spirituality can be seen as an energy that can help people who are going through some mental problems or stressors, and spirituality can play a role in their well-being, maintaining it and reconstructing it as well.
And that's part of the reason why I'm here, because when we're looking at things like barriers to access in terms of how people in faith-based communities, or the Muslim community in this one, find difficulty in getting the services that they need.
Well, I think, coming from Glasgow and coming from an ethnic minority background myself, and also being Muslim and third generation Pakistani, I think it's very important to think about culture and faith, and also spirituality when you're seeing patients. And obviously in different patients you have to treat them as individuals, so a different patient's religion and spirituality has a different weighting.
As a GP, so I do see kind of people who come to me, and they, when they come to me, I am like medical, so I really give them tablets or medical treatment. But then every person has some sort of spiritual need. I mean, whether it's no spiritual or and it might be a religion, it might be a belief, it might be, so everyone has something. So as a GP, because you see people for a range of problems, you're quite likely to come across it.
Well, today's been very well structured, and like the other events that have been held, we'll have workshops this afternoon. We've got scribes employed. They'll be taking notes. Those notes will be collated by Malik and the team, and it will come back to the Trust's executive board. So the Trust board, the most senior people in the Trust, will get the feedback, and they've been charged with actually responding. How are we going to act with these findings?
On the first group run, we came up with 3 points. Again, there wasn't agreement on things, but
I think it's very important because I come from transcultural mental health background. That means, the medical model and psychiatrist and the Western perspective and the Eurocentric model tells us, a bit of what's going on in our brain or in our mental health.
Yes, I think they need to again team up, have a practical demonstration to show that he is a patient. He's already a person of faith, and if they give him, because sometimes giving him all the medication may cause more harm to him. Sometimes it may even give him a mental health problem, probably he didn't need it in the first place.
A workshop is to try and listen, so I wasn't doing a lot of talking, but of course one has to try and capture as much as one can. And in so doing, we went away with 3 clear messages to be given to the powers to be, because we can be sitting and talking about these issues over and over again, but no action will be taken, nothing will be done.
I was brought up with that since I'm Muslim, so we believe in the Quran and we believe that it's healing. And so whoever is stressed, and in our community, stress doesn't exist, whether you are crazy or you are fit. So if you are crazy, it means like you are possessed, or you need help, and the person who can help you is a Maulana, somebody who can read Quran on you.
We certainly do treat our service users with tablets and other forms of treatment, as well as with talking therapies. But the spiritual aspect is something we really do have to engage with, and this event is one of the first places we can start that dialogue going.
Incorporate a spirituality assessment in their intake form, meaning that when people come in, we have questions for them in identifying the strength of their clients. You know, are you married? Do you have family? Do you have friends? Do you belong to a support group? And what we're saying is, why don't you include in that, is spirituality important to you? And if it is, how can we incorporate it so that we can give you the best services out there that are, possible, that would meet your needs best?
So that we can put the case forward. I know, as we said earlier on, it's a small group of people, but it's a representative group of people.
We live in a multicultural society. I personally live in Shepherd's Bush. You go down the Uxbridge Road, you have all sorts of people there. There's an element of affability, but I would love Shepherd's Bush to have the same thing as we're doing here, because where people get in the same room and talk about common problems.
But we hope it's provoked ideas and provoked an awareness and an understanding of these issues. And today we'll also talk about next steps and about, okay, now that we've had this discussion, now that we have this understanding, what are we now going to do?
What is important to take away initially is hope. Hope that we moved on from 3 years ago when, people didn't, there's a mental health trust somewhere there, and, big grounds, big weird buildings, to saying, oh, well, I'm getting to know a bit more about the mental health trust. People have come to the mental health trust, they've been invited to come in. So hope that there be more interrelationship between the trust and the community.
And this template, it can be replicated in relation to working with Hindu communities, it can be replicated in relation to working with Sikh, Christian, you name it. All we are talking about is getting the best of both worlds, bringing them together, and allowing people to work with that.